Hi everyone, welcome to week 6. All right, this is a big week. We've got our peer reviews at the end of the week already, but you all are going to be able to do it. You're doing a great job. So let's look at what we have going on and jump in here at week 6. What I've done also is, look at everything, big overview of what we're doing this week, but I have added a little shortcut to the overview page for our rhetorical analysis. Make sure that you are reading this over at least several times. Look over the requirements, all of the steps, the things that we're doing here. Make sure that you have the length in mind and look at the 900 and 1500 words. That should be 3 to 4 pages, but the word count is much more important than the pages, okay? Because everything can be a little bit different. So look over that. Let me know if you have any questions on this. Okay, now's the time to ask questions. But review that, and then we have some great activities this week that will help you come up with that rough draft by the end of the week. And the first one is all about writing our introduction and the thesis, a proper thesis for this type of paper. And so if you look down here, make sure you read all of these instructions. I'm not going to go over all of them right now, but I do want to show you these worksheets that we're going to be working on. This first one is an example. It's already filled out as if a student is writing a rhetorical analysis on Lady Gaga's speech. And what this is helping us do is break down all of the important things and recognize all of the important things that are required in an introduction. And this has some questions that help you come up with the answers and the types of information that you need to include. And it also helps you to form a thesis of exactly what you want to be discussing and presenting in this analysis. And then the next page is where you will come up with a rough draft. Okay, and all of this can be moved over to your other rough draft, your main rough draft, and so it's really, really helpful. And so that's the example, and then right here is the blank one that you would fill out and submit. Okay, let me know if you have any questions with that. That should be really helpful. I'm really excited that they've included that. And the next one is also going to be helpful. It's all about weaving in those sources. And so we've been looking at that this last week. It's really important. Review that. And there's another handout or page right here that has some information. Just remember, every time that you present or making a point about what the author does in their speech, you're going to want to show your audience where that happens in the speech. And so there's going to be some quotes in here. There shouldn't be an overload of quote. You can also paraphrase. But when you do quote, very, very, very seldom would you quote a full sentence whole, okay? It is much more effective to quote phrases from the sentence or words and weave them into your writing. It will be incredibly rare that where you will quote several sentences in a row or a paragraph. That is not going to be an appropriate use of quote. What happens when students do that is that quoted material never really becomes incorporated into your essay. There's just too much of it, and so the audience is left kind of bouncing back and forth between your essay and this author's speech, and then back and forth because they're never integrated and it never works. So make sure, this is really important, make sure that you read over those, and then we're going to practice here on this discussion board. You're going to take a phrase, okay, and you're going to weave it into a sentence and attribute the author and do some analysis there, and you're going to submit that, and then you're going to respond to 2 classmates' posts where they've done the same thing. And make sure that you give some good feedback. If they've done something well, do not just say, hey, that's great job, good job, because that tells them nothing. That doesn't help them at all. But if they do something well, tell them exactly why it's well, where they've done something good. If it needs some work, if it's a little confusing, or if there's some repetition where or there's some jarring in the sentence where they've tried to put in a whole quoted sentence, show them how they can improve that. Okay, help one another with that. And that's going to be another great post. And this is a quiz on Turnitin, the Turnitin report, and plagiarism. Read over this, okay, please, because it can be an issue that causes, when plagiarism, when we bring in quoted material, but we don't mark them as quotes, and so the audience just assumes it's our original writing, even when we mention the author, that's still plagiarism. And that can't be accepted. And so if that happens, then students end up having to rewrite the paper. It takes so much extra time. It's frustrating. And so make sure that you understand what this is. Okay, there's the little quiz there that helps you kind of hone in on the key points. And another one on using citations in APA. Anytime, every single time we bring in information or we have information from an outside source, like an article or an author, if we use that in a sentence, then our audience always needs to be told where that comes from, who is speaking, either in the sentence or in a citation that in the sentence also. So read over that. That's really important in college writing, incredibly important. And then we have our peer review. Okay, so our rough draft is going to be due Saturday night, and this peer review is going to be done exactly the same way as it was in our change essay. So we're going to submit our rough draft. Shortly thereafter, I think they have it, maybe an hour or so later, we're going to be signed peers whose papers we're going to analyze and use this worksheet. Okay? Do not, in fact, I'll add something here. Do not annotate right on one another's papers. Okay? Just fill out the worksheet, follow the prompts and the questions on the worksheet. This isn't a time where we are correcting one another's papers. We are not editing one another's papers. We're looking at the substance. So focus on the worksheet and get that, that worksheet will be due the following Wednesday. All right. And I think that is it. I know that's it. And then we're going to go in here into week 7. The only other thing that I encourage you to do, let's go back out here because it's at the end of week 7, is to open up, kind of look ahead to week 7 and look at the final submission page for this rhetorical essay, and then go down here and look at that rubric. All right? Nothing is a surprise here. You are told right up front what I have been asked to look at, what I have been asked to measure. Okay? So do a little self-grading. Look and make sure that you have everything that is expected in your essay. So nothing's a surprise. All right? Other than that, have a great week. Good luck with all of these activities. Let me know if you have any questions. I am so happy to help with anything, and have a great week. Bye-bye.